On this episode of Bootstrappers, we're going to speak with Peter Hernandez of Citizen Home Solutions on how to create lasting relationships with clients to build sales. That's next.
Welcome to Bootstrappers, a unique program designed to help make your business better. From property management to remote workers, Bootstrappers is here to help your business succeed. Bootstrappers is a production of Anequim, LLC. So let's lace up those business boots and join Bootstrappers with Jeremy and Gwen Aspen.
Welcome to this episode of Bootstrappers. I'm your host, Gwen Aspen, and Bootstrappers is a show where we talk about topics that are important to real estate and property management entrepreneurs. I'm super happy to have Peter Hernandez of Citizen Home Solutions here talking with us about how we can be better at relationship sales, something that company excels at beyond any company I know. Just a reminder, Bootstrappers is powered by Anequim. Anequim helps property management companies be more profitable and successful through virtual assistants, back office support, and 24-hour call center for leasing, maintenance, and call overflow. If you're a fan of the show, please like, subscribe, tell all your friends, and leave us a nice comment. Hopefully a nice comment. A comment on our YouTube channel in the description or on Instagram at Bootstrappers Show in the bio, and we will give a book giveaway every single week to the most insightful comment. Stay tuned till the end of the show to find out what our book giveaway is. So with that, I'd like to introduce Peter Hernandez. Hi, welcome to the show.
Gwen, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I appreciate the invite. We're gonna have some fun today.
I'm so happy to talk to you because you do something that nobody in the property management space, and frankly, there are very few companies that I can even name that do this well. You build true, authentic relationships with your clients. And your whole team does. Wes does it so good at really, truly connecting with the clients. I think it's something a lot of people don't do or aren't successful at. So I was wondering if you could give us some insights on kind of how you became a company that was focused on relationships and really how you do what you do.
Well, thank you so much for that compliment, first of all. And, I can't take credit. We didn't really reinvent the wheel, but we did understand that you've got to get to a point where the people that you're talking to, the people that you're interacting with, that all these folks really get to trust you, know you, and like you, right? And so it's easier said than done.
It's definitely easier said than done.
But it's not, if you're genuine, if you really are genuine and you care for people, it happens. And so we do. We try to make sure that each one of our partners, everyone that we're involved with in a business relationship, that they all know that we are not. They're just not a number. They're not just another account. They're not just they're friends. So connecting with these folks even prior to the sale, prior to the business part of things is super important. We see it that way at the company. Citizen Home Solutions has it's our culture.
And let's just talk about Citizen Home Solutions so people kind of know what your company does. So just give us a little background on the organization.
So Citizen Home Solutions is, in a nutshell, it's a utility concierge service. And so that kind of goes hand in hand with what we were talking about before, about relationship building and making friends and the relationship sales. The concierge service is designed to give the resident or the tenant the most amazing move-in experience. We take care or handle or assist them with utilities. When you're moving, you've got so much going on.
Oh my gosh. It's like one of the 8 stressors of life, right?
Absolutely.
It's like divorce, moving, and death are like right up there with the most stressful life events.
It's right up there. So no one has, we all know that moving is a huge pain in the butt,
yes.
Right? And so we're here to assist the resident with that move-in by taking care of their utilities. Just something for them to not have to worry about as they're transitioning into their new home. So that's
like peace of mind. Also it's a service that if you're trying to provide that white touch or white glove
absolutely
experience for your clients, you want to have high-end properties having that experience with the utilities instead of people staying on the line for hours on end trying to get things set up. If you guys are taking care of it for them, you can help that property manager maybe separate themselves from the pack.
Absolutely. So it helps in that way. It creates an experience for the resident. It creates an experience for the property manager. Here's what's really interesting about the how that works. Every one of the residents that we help will always go back and say, "Oh my God, I love that my property manager gave me this amazing service. It's saving me time. It's saving me money. It's just something less for me to worry about." So it's definitely, again, it's a concierge service. It can be a white glove experience, if you will, for the residents.
So we just talked about how your service kind of separates property managers from maybe some of the like the lower entry property management services. And I know there's some fear in the industry that Zillow's going to take over or whatever. But so along with what you do for residents with your company, you also are a really good example of creating those relationships with your clients, which is really what property managers have to do to stay above the fray and above those low-cost operators. Absolutely. They have to really know the owners of the buildings and treat them like friends to succeed in this competitive environment.
I could not agree more. Absolutely.
So I think we can talk more about the genesis of your PM Health Group, which is one way that you connect with property managers who are, the clients that you're trying to connect with for business purposes. How did you even come up with the idea of the PM Health Group? And maybe for those people who aren't familiar with it, you can tell us what it is.
Sure. So PM Health is we like to call it a community, or really a group of friends that come together. It's a Facebook group where we're helping, where we're collaborating, helping, supporting, cheering on folks, partners in this industry, in the property management industry. I'll touch on how it came about here in a little bit, but I have to say this: property managers spend a lot of time, a lot of resources educating themselves to better their business. A lot of time and resources go into that. Unfortunately, the time and the resources are never spent on themselves.
Yes.
On taking care of themselves, right? So it's how do I grow my business? How do I grow my door count? How do I become more profitable? That part is they've got it down to the T. But all that happens without them realizing, okay, I'm not spending any time on me, taking care of myself. And so it might sound a little dramatic, but I always like to tell folks, it doesn't matter how much you educate yourself. If you're not here, if you're not around to implement everything that you've learned.
Because if your machine, the machine that you're given isn't in working order,
exactly.
none of those other things are going to happen.
Absolutely. So PM Health started with, it was actually, my personal experience. I took a trip to South Africa one year, came back pretty ill, ended up in the hospital. Doctor says, okay, you've got to make some changes, right? And so that being said, I did immediately. Dropped some weight, got healthy, became more active, and the friends, the peers, the partners, my friends in the industry started asking, Peter, what's going on? You've lost weight, you're active, you're doing all these. What happened? How are you doing it? And it's funny because that turned into almost every week getting a text or two asking.
So it must have been a dramatic turnaround.
Well, I don't know how much you want me to share, but went from 239 pounds to 185 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So about 60 pounds or so, right?
So it was noticeable. So
Very noticeable.
A lot of people were inspired by that, so they wanted to learn how you did it.
They were definitely curious about it, absolutely. And so when I was getting more and more questions about it, I thought, well, it seems that there's partners or friends in the industry who want to make changes, who know that they have to make changes, and just don't know how or can't get started. So a couple of guys, Wes included, he's very healthy, very active. I was telling him what was going on, and he said, I asked him if maybe I should start a Facebook group. I said, do you think anybody would be interested in following property managers? Would they be interested in following a group that all we talk about is health, eating better, working out, exercising? He's like, I think so. So, needless to say, the PM Health Group is obviously powered by Citizen Home Solutions. They support me in everything that I do with that group. And, fast forward, July, it'll be 2 years since we put that group together. And The folks there.
It's active. It's super active, and it's very positive and inspiring.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is it does make the community feel closer.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel closer with people in the industry. And the other great thing is that you merge something that, I mean, health is something you have to manage every single day anyway. And to keep the weight off, I'm sure it still keeps a level of effort. So you kind of merge something that authentically was important to you.
Yeah.
With business and helped other people make their lives better.
Yes.
And I think that's like something that we can all reflect on when we're trying to figure out how are we going to build authentic relationships with people that could be our clients or owners in property management. What areas could we do that in? I want to just bring up an example. We have a realtor in my neighborhood. I live in a really old historic neighborhood in Omaha, and the guy who's in charge of our homeowners association is also a realtor, but he is like the biggest champion for our neighborhood ever. And he's just he grew up there. He's one of 10 kids. His family lives there. He's just but anyway, he does a great job because he merges his passion for the neighborhood with his job. And so I think that's kind of the challenge for a lot of us, is to figure out what is an authentic thing that we can champion that's positive, that we can kind of brand alongside and bring our clients along with us.
It's got to be something that comes natural, something that's that you have an interest in, and that whoever you're trying to connect with will have an interest in. Like I said early on, we figured that when people were asking, we figured out there's obviously an interest. Some folks want to know more about how to be healthy, and you mentioned community earlier. It's really amazing. We'll go to some conferences. We'll put together a fun run or walk at a conference, and just get a bunch of folks together and go out and run one morning. I kid you not, I hear it every single time. There's people in that group that end up being friends, end up building relationships and friendships after never knowing each other before that. But they met that morning. They came down at 6 o'clock in the morning, went and ran together, and after that they're just friends. So it really is a sense of community and family in that group, and that has to tie into to business as well. So,
sure.
Again, once you establish that relationship, once you that trust as well, everything else just kind of falls into place.
And people want to work with people that they
Absolutely.
like. So I want to now talk about building a team that you train to do a similar thing, to bring their authentic selves to the table, kind of showcase it in a professional way.
Yeah.
And then sell to that. But as a manager of managing salespeople who are building these relationships too, I mean, it can get into some tricky territory.
It can. It definitely can. But when you bring on, you scout the right people. You bring on,
and that's what you did. As you build your team, though, there have to be guardrails.
Absolutely.
So have you thought about, or do you talk to Wes about what the guardrails are, or how to kind of manage that pursuit?
So we've definitely had some conversations about it, and you touched on something earlier. You said let people kind of do their own thing, be themselves, and so you do that, but you're also, you're kind of.
It's tricky because it's a personal Facebook account, so it's really them.
Yeah.
And then, but also you probably don't want your business, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like politics is so difficult right now in the country. And then maybe drinking gets a little tricky.
Right.
And then there's also like swimsuit photos can get tricky.
Yeah.
Like those would be the areas that I would think of.
Absolutely.
And but so how do you talk about that with a team?
Well, I think it starts, can't think of another way to say this, but really from example. I think when the team sees, okay, they'll look at you and they look at what you do, what you don't do, and they that kind of helps them stay on course. Not that one thing that we always talk about is the culture of the company, and so that's explained to the team from the very beginning. This is what we really like to do. This is what we're really good at. These are the areas that we stay away from. So that kind of conversation takes place. Those take place, early on, and glad to say it's never been a situation where you have to go back and address, okay, hey, look at what you posted, or
Yeah.
So,
okay, so it's culture from the top,
absolutely.
and you kind of just explain. For anyone listening, I would just suggest, think about, like, you may have an ideal employee so you never have to address it, but then as you grow, you definitely need to have some guardrails in place. Like,
absolutely.
Here's where, like, if you're going to go there and you want to merge your personal and your professional, here are kind of the guardrails of the organization.
Yeah.
If not, then you sell a different way. Like, we're not going to micromanage the way that you sell as
Correct.
long as the culture of the company is disseminating what you're putting out there, right?
Absolutely. So explaining that and helping them understand what that culture is super important. And again, you said it gets tricky because it's their personal social media account, or but as long as the conversations are had early on, and so as we're growing, yes, we're having those conversations with the team. These are some things that you can all go out and have a good time and do anything that you'd like. But see, these are some of the things that you'd probably want to shy away from if you're going to post, if it's going to have any connection or any direct impact on the brand or image and so forth. So those conversations are had early on, and so far so good.
Do you guys have a policy, like an official policy on it?
We don't have an official policy on it.
Because you have great people. I think you have great people. You don't have to.
We do. But again, it's something that and every time we someone comes on, it's something that's discussed, something that's mentioned, and so I guess the official document or official whatever is. If we see something that might be concerning, we'll have a conversation about it. So again, so far so good. We have a great team, and everyone's been just rocking it.
So if you were to give advice to a property management company that really wants to maybe focus on those relationships moving forward, and really give that concierge service and that real authentic personality to the people that they're trying to attract as clients, what kind of advice would you give to them?
So especially as if you're trying to do that in the social media platform, just be authentic, be yourself, be genuine. I think it's super important for folks to realize that sometimes you even have to be a little vulnerable. You have to kind of let people know and see that it's not just everything's not you want to maybe post something about your puppy or your whatever it may be. So you make you allow the people to see a little bit into your personal life, because we want friends, right? So it's great to have a rep. It's great to have an account manager, but you want to know that these people that you're dealing with are also your friends. And so my advice would be just be genuine. This may sound
get a little out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Maybe share something a little out of the comfort zone, see how it goes,
right,
and then get more comfortable sharing a little bit more.
People are real with each other, genuine with each other when they see that same from the other person. So of course you want to make sure that you are you're very aware of your brand, of your company's image, but again, we're created to connect with each other, right? We need the friendships, we need the hugs, we need the smiles, we need the handshakes. And so to be able to do that on social media, it can be a little tricky, but it's not difficult to make those connections even through platforms like that.
So when you have a new employee come on board, and let's just say that it's a young person, we were all crazy young at some point, kind of do you ever talk to them about kind of defining their personal brand alongside the company brand and what that looks like and how to do that?
We talk to them a lot about that.
So what kind of conversations are those?
So the conversations are more or less, people will always know that you are a part of CHS, but people will always also get to know you, whoever, the person. And so, although it's important for you to start establishing those relationships for the benefit of, the business, the company, and whatnot, it's still something that you're going to. It's an image that you're creating for yourself. It's going to come or go with you. And so, having those conversations early on is super important, and it's also helping them understand that you are here now, today, if you're not here in a year or two, it's still an image or a brand that you've created that follows you. And so that
what
could be
do
good
you
or
want
bad.
that to look like?
We want that to be. We want it to always be a positive, and you said a word earlier. I can't remember what it was. So it's a. We want it to be a positive. I'm sorry, positive and experience that connects people together. We want to make sure it's. Look, I'm enjoying my life. This is what I'm doing. I love it, and I love what I do for work. So it's
kind of a balance.
Correct. Yeah.
So
you're combining and connecting both of those. Yeah.
So kind of being reflective of, does this look unbalanced?
Yes. Yes.
It's tricky, Peter.
It is.
Like, managing it is tricky.
It is.
But I do think it's the risk worth taking, especially in this new environment that we're living in, where it is about that. In an environment where Amazon, you can buy all your stuff at Amazon, and you can do all your real estate maybe in the next few years on Zillow.
Yeah.
Property managers are going to have to take those personal risks, form those relationships to stay strong in the industry.
Absolutely. But you create those relationships, you create that your personal brand or your company's brand or image, and I guarantee you people will then look for you to meet you, to want to get to know more about you in person if you haven't had that in-person connection with them. So
well, thank you so much, Peter, for being on the show.
Thank you.
So before we go, though, we want to talk about our book giveaway. So the book this week is The Relationship Edge: The Key to Strategic Influence and Selling Success by Jerry Acuff. So please go to our YouTube channel and leave a comment in the description, or to our Instagram and go to the bio at Bootstrappers Show and leave us a comment there to participate in the book giveaway. That's a wrap.
This has been Bootstrappers, a unique presentation designed to help you better understand how the world turns. Contact Gwen or Jeremy at hosts@bootstrappers.club or visit our website, Anequim.net. Be sure to subscribe to our podcasts on Apple, Google Play, Spotify, and our YouTube channel. Thank you, and join us next time for Bootstrappers.